What's good? It is 9:38 a.m., April 15th. Just doing a re-review on this knife. When I first made a video on this blade, it was like a week old, so I kind of fucked up on calling that a review. I should have just called it a first impressions. So now I'm doing a legit review. So I got this about August 2021 on Blade Ops for a 120, 119. They still have it in stock, the specific version. And the black one too, if I'm not mistaken. On Blade HQ, the black one is actually more expensive. It's like 126. I recently saw that. So the materials, specs, it's made of D2 steel. It says it right there. Has the model number, little Coprotec logo. Pretty cool. And then on the other side, Automat Kalashnikov Boker. It's made, I'm not sure if it's cast aluminum, but it's T6 6061 aluminum anodized. Overall, 8.6 inches, 3.5 inch blade, 5.1 inch handle, 4.7 ounces. It's USA assembled, but made in China. All right. I'm going to make that clear because I just recently watched a couple videos and I see people showing the blade like, yeah, it's the Boker Kalashnikov, blah, blah, blah. And then USA made, and that's all they're saying. They're not saying it's Chinese made and USA assembled. And people in the comments are like, hey man, it's Chinese made and assembled in the US. Like, people are having to correct them. So yeah, it's not 100% USA made. It's just assembled in the US and Chinese made. I'm actually going to go on a little rant here. So if you don't want to listen to this, just skip over this shit. I recently saw something from like a knife YouTuber and it kind of pissed me off. Well, really just made me fucking cringe. It was saying something like, I'm allergic to Chinese knives. And I just think it's really fucking stupid. Like, I'm Mexican American. I'm an American patriot. I fucking love America. I love supporting American jobs. Shit like that. I fucking know some shit about the American Revolutionary War history and stuff like that, and I love everything about America, but I fucking love buying awesome knives, and they have fucking dope ass Chinese knives. They have awesome Japanese and German made knives, Taiwanese fucking knives. And it just sounds stupid when you're nitpicking, like everything has to be fucking USA, USA this, USA that, no fucking Chinese and Japanese knives or whatever the fuck. And it's like, is everything you own USA made? Do you have a USA made insulation in your house? Is the alternator in your car USA made? Are the chonies you're wearing USA made? Like, what the fuck? There has to be a limit, like, I used to drink fucking coconut water and it was made, like, produced in Malaysia and the Philippines and Indonesia. And am I going to be like, fuck that coconut water. That coconut water can suck my dick because it's not made in America. Fuck that shit. Like, no, I would just sound like a fucking dumbass at that point. Like, it's stupid. Like, I love fucking, Japanese Spydercos and fucking German-made knives and shit, and it's like, the Japanese government and German government weren't exactly good people during World War II. The Japanese were almost as fucked up as the Germans. If you don't know about Unit 731, Google that shit, and then tell me what you think of the Japanese government. So, yeah, but that ain't stopping me from buying fucking awesome knives and shit, or Taiwanese knives or whatever the fuck. So, yeah, pretty much just buy whatever the fuck you want. It's really stupid. And, here you go. Here's the best example. Boom. The best fucking rifle in the world. Not this specific version, but just the platform, the Kalashnikov. And some people who are diehard, USA fans, USA patriots, whatever, like, they could be like, oh, get that Russian commie, Serbian-made piece of junk away from me. I'm allergic to it. The other people would be like, shit, I ain't allergic to it. I'll fucking take it. Like, that's just, it's stupid to say shit like that. Like, that's the best fucking rifle in the world, and it ain't American. Simple as that. That ain't gonna stop me from It ain't gonna change my opinion or the value of the fucking weapon or the tool, how much I love it, just because it's what it's associated with, you know? Yeah, so that's the end of that. So thickness on here, the Ergos. I said in my other video, it has those finger trolls and it just melts right in your hand. If you have a really small hand, then it's not gonna work for you probably. But for me, it just fits almost just perfectly. And it's not a really thin knife, but it's not too thick either. Thinking maybe this random Ganzo is about almost as thick as that. This Voyager is definitely thicker. Yeah, no shit. And the texture on it, it has this kind of like stippling pattern, and it is a little grippy, but it's almost not too grippy at all. Like, it's smooth, but it's still grippy. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it really. I'm trying to think of something similar that I have that feels just like it. Actually, I don't. Yeah, it's not like G10 or anything. Yeah, I'm not sure what else I would compare it to. And let me see. Do a blade comparison right here. Kershaw, bare knuckle, and Benchmade Barrage. This fucking knife, it's like a fucking bottle. It spins around when it's like on a flat surface. Those are all about the same size. Let's see, let me show you that. Little fucking spin. Yeah, look at that shit. Just like, what the fuck? So, yeah. Watch how this shit will spin around. And this is, I think it's about the same size as that. This Rant, sorry, this one is fucking dirty. I just used this shit and cut up a bunch of shit. I usually always clean my blades. Even if I just use it, I'd be like, fuck it, let me wipe it down. But it has a bunch of adhesive and shit on it from boxes. And here we go. That is the Arrow Cupid clone. So you know I ain't bullshitting about anything I just said. Yeah, Chinese OTF. Those are all about the same size blade length, yeah. All right, and the usage on this, honestly, I haven't used it that much. I've had it for about 8 months, and I carried it maybe 4 months from like August to December. And I pretty much just carried it for like an EDC, like a self-defense EDC blade. Didn't really cut up a bunch of shit. Yeah, I can't chop shit with this. It's too fucking small. Didn't cut through a bunch of boxes or slice apples or anything like that. Pretty much, yeah, I just carried it around, stabbed a few fucking things just to test out the blade profile, the penetration. Didn't fucking pry into anything, but yeah. And since I knew I was making this video, I took it to work last night and just sliced up a fuck ton of boxes and shit like that. And honestly, I felt the edge before I used it, and then I sliced up some shit and then went to check the edge. And call me crazy, but it almost feels like it's sharpened the edge. And it's kind of ironic because cardboard can dull the fuck out of your knife, and it can kind of sharpen it because you can strop your knives on it in a certain way like that. And I think this has happened maybe a couple times with different knives. I've checked the edge and then went to cut a bunch of cardboard and boxes and then checked it again. It almost felt like it was sharper, like it stropped it onto some certain part of the blade. But yeah, it held up really well from what I expected it, because since I've had it, I never really put it through that much use, cutting a bunch of cardboard in. It did very well. It was still shaving through paper after that. And from my experience, my this batch of steel, I could say this 14C and this D2, it seems like this D2 is maybe doing a little better than this 14C. Maybe like it's in between a 14 and under a AUS 10, something like that, from just my experiences or these batches of steel that I got. So I thought it did pretty well. And the very first video I made of this, someone commented, they were like, man, every time someone shows a D2 steel, they never fucking show a paper cut test or anything like that. And I was like, all right, I got you, homie. I'm gonna do a review and I'll show it in there. But it really just shows my edge I have on the knife. It doesn't really show the capabilities of the steel or anything. It's not showing the corrosion resistance or anything or how fucking tough it is. But I was like, fuck it. I'll just cut through some paper and let me see if I can like. It's not that sharp. I kind of stropped it up a little bit. Try to. Let me see. I'm trying to like. I kind of can whittle the hair. Yeah. Not really. Whittle the hair, whittle the paper. Like it's fucking whittling some hair or some shit. You know, where you can whittle the paper really fine and shit. Yeah, you know, your blade has to be somewhat sharp to do that. So yeah. Well, here, I'll show it again. Because anybody can fucking, oh, go like that. Look how sharp my blade is, but if you cut it slowly and do like a push cut, that's how you can tell how sharp your blade is, like the edge you have on it. But, and the sound of it, this one is, you can hear it's really fucking loud, so it's not that sharp, but I'm not just draw cutting through it. I'm doing some push cuts so you can see it's somewhat sharp. Let me see. It's not like razor sharp, but it's not really hair popping sharp, but it can kind of rough shave. You can see, yeah. So it has a sharp edge on it. It's sharp. Yep. All right. And the finish on here, well, it has a 0.11 thick, you know, blade stock, so it has a pretty decent thickness on the blade stock, and then it has a thin grind. It kind of thins down, I would say. Then it has a thin distal taper. I think that's what you fucking call it. And so yeah, it has a nice little point. And the finish on it, I've dropped it on concrete. I think I had it on my lap and I stood up and dropped this, and I was like, holy shit. I was looking for the spot where I dropped it on. Like, that's how tiny the spot is. Like, that's how good it wore when I dropped it. And I'm pretty sure it's right there. That little spot is the only spot it got marked up on from dropping it on concrete after like getting up pretty fast. And I was like, holy shit. I was expecting like some marks like that my CRKTs have, because those are T6 aluminum and they're all jacked up just from being dropped once on one spot. It's all flattened out. So I was surprised, but right here, I don't know if you can see, I'm sure you can see on the camera, it's starting to wear right here on these lines, and it's, I'm guessing underneath the anodization, it's like a goldish bronze copper color or some shit, because that's what it looks like. So that's pretty cool that it's wearing like that. And the rest of the knife, it's not really wearing. Maybe like on the little corners right here, you can kind of see it has the same kind of color like that, but other than that, not really. And the screws, I Loctited the knife when I first got it, and after dropping it like that, I thought some of the screws might have gotten knocked loose, but no, the screws held up pretty well. And I'm pretty sure those are T8 pocket clip screws, or T6. They're like completely flush, so good job, Boker, on that. Fuck yeah. That's a huge positive right there. And how smooth it is. You know, if you're comparing it to a Microtech, you can shit on the knife and be like, oh yeah, it's a piece of shit, shitty knife. It's not smooth at all, but you can feel that aluminum, just it has that solid feeling when it fires. Just feels like quality in your hand. And it's not really loud. Like this one is really fucking loud, the Arrow. But it's like made out of cheap pot metal zinc or something. It has like a clanky sound, clanky feeling to it. But I mean, I love this OTF too. This is 1/4 of the price though of this. This is $30. This is $120. So I mean, you can't really compare them on the smoothness. And that's a single action. This is a double action. But I'm sure if Boker made a single action like that, they would make it smoother. You know, it would feel smoother than that one. So the pocket carry time, I've had this for 8 months, and I've only carried it probably for about 4 months, like from August to December, just for like a self-defense kind of purpose knife. And you could use it, you know, for cutting up boxes and shit like that. It has a good blade grind and thickness. You could use it for some apples and stuff, but I would specifically just carry this around for self-defense. That's about it. I have other, knives that are better for slicing up boxes and shit like that. So, and it's, like a fidget toy. I'm not left-handed, so I couldn't fucking deploy it that good, but I still can. So yeah, that's his best role, just a self-defense tool. And the variants on this is pretty much the only one they have. The color, the green one. They have a green and black. And they have a little mini like Boker USB OTF, and I saw that. I saw it a long time ago, like when I bought this one they had it, but I didn't really think that much of it. But I saw they have a purple version of it, like a purple color, and a green one just like this, like a lime green. And I just said, fuck it. I bought the purple one, and it's like half the price of this, so it's not really cheap for a tiny ass little OTF. I think the size of it when it's closed, I mean, when the blade is in there, it's fucking like that. It's like that long or some shit like that. It's a tiny ass little knife, like 2-inch blade, $60, but I'm assuming if it's made by Boker, Cobra Tech, it's gonna have the same, engineering, quality control put into that little fucking knife. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and it's purple, so that's awesome. So is it worth it for $120? Yeah, I would say fuck yeah. I thought they would have raised the price of this, or this specific one would have been unavailable, out of stock. So yeah, if you're looking at this knife, looking at the black one or this one, I would say get this one, or fucking two of them. Yeah, it's definitely worth the money. All right then, it's my Boker Kalashnikov OTF review, re-review. Later.